Among the most compelling figures in medieval English history is King Canute the Great, an emperor who ruled over a vast North Sea empire encompassing England, Denmark, Norway, and parts of Sweden. Today, traces of his earthly reign survive not only in the chronicles of Norse and English history, but in the solemn silence of Winchester Cathedral. There, amid medieval Gothic splendour and beneath the shadow of soaring ribbed vaults, lies a modest wooden chest believed to house the mortal remains of Canute. This video explores the life and reign of King Canute, the significance of his burial site and the later fate of his remains, culminating in their placement in Mortuary Chest, whose history is as turbulent as the sea over which Canute once ruled. So, to support our channel, please make sure to subscribe. Canute, also spelt Canute, was born around 990 AD. The son of Sven Forkbeard, the Danish king, who launched a successful conquest of England in 1013. Canute's early life is shrouded in the mist of legend, but he likely received both military and Christian education, which would prepare him for leadership in a divided Christendom. Sven's sudden death in 1014 forced Canute to retreat to Denmark, but he returned the following year with a formidable fleet to resume his father's ambition. England at the time was reeling from decades of Viking raids and political instability. The Anglo-Saxon king Ethelred the Unready and his son Edmund Ironside resisted Canute's advances. After a series of brutal campaigns, a peace agreement was reached in 1016 at the Treaty of Olney, which divided England between the two men. Edmund died later that year, leaving Canute the uncontested king of all of England. Canute's reign from 1016 to 1035 marks a remarkable period of consolidation. Through a foreign conqueror, he sought legitimacy through marriage, law, and diplomacy, and in 1017 he married Emma of Normandy, the widow of Ethelred, aligning himself with the old English royal line. He maintained many Anglo-Saxon institutions and surrounded himself with both Danish and English advisors. His rule was characterized by political pragmatism, economic stability, and ecclesiastical patronage. Beyond England, Canute inherited the throne of Denmark in 1018 after the death of his brother, Harold II. He later conquered Norway in 1028, thus establishing a North Sea empire. This rare unification of England, Denmark, and Norway under a single monarch was unprecedented and gave Canute a stature comparable to that of Western emperor. In 1027, he even travelled to Rome, attending the coronation of the Holy Roman Emperor, Conrad II, signalling his status among Europe's greatest rulers. Canute died on the 12th of November 1035 at Shaftesbury in Dorset. His death marked the beginning of the fragmentation of his empire. His sons, Harold Harefoot and Harthcanute, vied for control of England and Denmark, and the empire he built swiftly began to dissolve. Canute was buried in the old minster at Winchester, then the spiritual and political heart of Anglo-Saxon England. Winchester, once the capital of the ancient kingdom of Wessex, was still the royal city par excellence, and its cathedral, the Old Minster, which predated the current Winchester Cathedral, served as the burial site for West Saxon kings. It is fitting that Canute, despite being a Danish conqueror, was interred amongst the kings of Wessex. This burial signified his successful integration into English rulership and his desire to be seen as a legitimate Christian monarch, not a foreign usurper. His burial in Winchester also symbolised continuity with the line of Alfred the Great, further consolidating his image as a lawful and pious king. Now, following the Norman conquest, William the Conqueror initiated vast ecclesiastical reforms and architectural projects. The old minster was demolished to make way for the new Norman cathedral, today's Winchester Cathedral, and construction of which began in 1079. The remains of Canute and other kings and bishops and saints were transferred from the old minster into the new building. In the 12th century, these royal bones were placed into ornately painted mortuary chests made of wood and decorated with Latin inscriptions and heraldic symbols. These chests were raised high above a stone screen surrounding the high altar, an architectural feature symbolizing the celestial status of the interred. Canute's bones were believed to be placed in one of these chests, along with those of his wife, Queen Emma. Today, the mortuary chest, believed to contain the remains of King Canute, stands atop the presbytery screen in Winchester Cathedral. It is one of the several surviving chests that hold the disarticulated bones of early English kings, bishops, and saints. These chests, while now simple and time-worn, once bore brightly painted images of saints and heraldic emblems, designed to glorify the deceased and inspire reverence. Canute's chest, like the others, is a small wooden box reinforced with iron bands. It bears an inscription in Latin naming the monarch it contains. Over time, the contents of the chests have been disturbed multiple times, especially during the 17th century English Civil War. In 1642, parliamentary soldiers sacked Winchester Cathedral, smashing stained glass and ransacking royal tombs. The mortuary chests were thrown to the ground, their contents scattered. Some of the bones were looted or lost, and others were haphazardly replaced. Records from the time describe soldiers playing football with skulls of kings. This desecration complicated further identification of the bones. Despite this, the chests were later restored and replaced on presbytery screen. However, it's no longer certain whose bones rest within which chest. Modern analysis suggests that the chests may now contain a mixture of remains belonging to various individuals, including kings such as Egbert, Edmund I, Edred, and William Rufus, as well as bishops and queens. And in recent years, researchers have attempted to resolve the confusion caused by the Civil War desecrations. In 2019, a team of scientists led by the University of Bristol osteoarchaeologist Heidi Dawson-Hobbis conducted the first comprehensive scientific study of the bones in Winchester's mortuary chests. Using radiocarbon dating, isotope analysis, and DNA sequencing, the team examined over 1,300 bone fragments from 6 chests. The study revealed that the bones came from at least 23 individuals, many of whom lived in the 10th and 11th centuries. Some of the remains belonged to children, others to older men, and these findings support the belief that the chests do indeed contain the remains of Anglo-Saxon royals. In the case of King Canute, the data was less conclusive. It's believed that several bone fragments in one chest may belong to a tall, robust male who died in the Middle Age, consistent with Canute's age and physique as recorded in historical accounts, but still, absolute confirmation remains elusive, partly because Canute's wife Emma and others from the period are also candidates for inclusion. The survival of Canute's remains, albeit in a fragmented and uncertain state, provide a powerful connection to a man who once held sway over an empire stretching from Irish Sea to Baltic. His interment in Winchester, amidst the ancestral burial grounds of the Wessex kings, serves as both a political statement and a symbol of assimilation. The tomb and mortuary chest of King Canute in Winchester Cathedral embody a remarkable convergence of history, religion, and royal symbolism, from his rise as a Viking prince to his rule as a Christian king and emperor. Canute represents a rare fusion of conquest and consolation. His bones, once scattered by soldiers, later recollected with reverence, still lie within Winchester's great cathedral, silent witness to a forgotten empire. In an age of fleeting power and fragile kingdoms, Canute's story endures. His mortuary chest, perched above the cathedral's sacred heart, offers more than the relics of a distant past. It serves as a reminder of kingship, impermanence, and the quiet persistence of memory across centuries. Thank you for watching, and to support our channel, please make sure to subscribe. And again, thank you so much for watching.